Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel. This is Darlene at Scorpio 1111 and I will start your reading here in 1 second. Let me get some business out of the way. So I appreciate you being here. I know that your time is valuable and I'm very grateful. I'm shuffling while I'm talking. And the business is simply, if you would be so kind to hit that like button. And if this is not your story, please pass it on and share it to those. If you, oops, okay, thank you. If you recognize it and you think you know who it belongs to, please pass it on. Anything you do to interact with this video, whether it's a comment, a like, or a share, tells the YouTube algorithm that it's interesting content and it shows it to a broader audience. So yes, that helps my channel grow, and I am just getting started here on YouTube, but more importantly, it helps this message reach the family and loved ones that it's meant for. Okay, business out of the way. Thank you for hanging in here with me. I have a mom coming through that was, let me stop shuffling a second while I do this. By the way, I got this new deck. It's so fun. It's a little mini deck, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to use that also today. And this is the Lightseer deck, if anybody's interested, the bigger cards. So the lady I have coming through today, she's showing me her life, and apparently where it was will tell the story, I guess, of who this was, or this person that I'm doing the reading for, the living person, will connect the dots. She's showing me this landscape of, it was just rolling hills with low growth, if any, and it was on a coastline, or near a coastline. Reminds me, though I have not been there personally, but pictures I've seen, of somewhere in either like Ireland or Europe, northern England perhaps, could be Iceland, but I'm not seeing like ice and snow, although it could be like that there. But she's just showing, it's just barren, just is the word. Just rolling hills, rocky cliffs, and kind of barren. But in a lush way. That sounds weird. In other words, there's plenty of low-growing vegetation, apparently. I don't know what that would be over there, but it was not a forested area at all. And that was kind of significant, apparently, to the story, because the life there was difficult. It was challenging. And it probably still is for the people who live there, although, you know, I guess we have technology now to help with all that, but there's just so much you can do when you live in an environment like that. She's saying that when you, meaning the viewer, whoever this is meant for, were growing up, it was a big deal, apparently, to always keep the fire going. So I think you probably had a wood stove, and you know, you had to keep fire cut, maintain the pile, you know, always have firewood and something to heat. Now, you might have had more modern heating, but that was always a backup. And I get the feeling that at one time, if not, I don't know if this could have been the case always, but that when you were growing up, that the stove in the kitchen was wood heat even. So that could have been modernized along the way, but she's just showing me this kitchen scene in the house where, you know, that's what I'm seeing, is one of those big wood-fired stoves. And that was part of the routine. You get up, you know, you get this wood in the stove, and besides the wood stove to heat the house, this kitchen had a wood stove. And she showed me, you know, when the family was growing up, big pots. And there was something about this one particular big pot, apparently. There's some distinction. You'll know this if it's your story. But apparently she would, you know, it was kind of a, what do I say? She would make stews and soups and big family meals in this one specific pot that I guess was sentimental after all those meals and memories went into it, for sure. Or maybe there was some conversation about who got the pot when she died, or something like that. Something to do with this big pot that she used to cook with on the stove. But the story goes, and I know y'all just looking at these cards wondering, but this is really just, I get the connection. Let me stop a second. I get the connection with this person usually before I pull the cards, and I just ask for any information, and then oftentimes when I pull the cards, this is just backing up what I already intuited. So that's the case today for the most part, and I will tell you, I'll kind of read these cards for you in a moment. But, and whoever this reading is for, her child, and at first I thought it was a young man, and I thought maybe it was a woman, now a woman. So it may have been one of each. That may be why I can't determine. So it may be one of each, a son and a daughter. I can't say for sure. Sorry about that. Usually I can, but it's not coming through that clear. But I think because of the kind of environment it was, and you know how kids are, you just can't wait to leave home, that you wanted to grow up and get out of there as fast as you could. And that's pretty much what you did. You know, small town and all that. So you went, you grew up, left home, went out into the world, and I think you moved pretty far away from wherever this was. And I think that your father or her husband was not in the scene for quite a while before she passed away. So I don't know if he died earlier than she did, maybe. That could be the case. But the point is, she lived alone for quite a long time. And she's just showing me this. I don't mean to make you feel bad in any way, but there's kind of a scene where a mom's sitting alone, you know, in this house, in this barren environment. It's very sad, but I mean, it was just, she didn't necessarily feel that way. She missed her children. She did miss them. And so this message is for the child. I'm going to put these cards down, I think. Let me see what's, okay. Let me just real quick, I'm taking a peek here at the bottom of this little deck. She said, she knew, but she's letting me know this because, as sad as that may sound, she's coming through for the sole purpose of comforting you, because she says, I knew you were going to grow up. I knew you were going to have your life. I knew you were going to leave. I knew what this life was going to bring me, that I would be sitting here alone one day, you know, freezing to death in this big drafty house, she's saying, or whatever. But, you know, that's kind of that sad scene. She's showing me that it was just a real effort to get wood the older she got and all that stuff. And she was saying she just, at one point, you know, and I've been guilty of this. So this is not about, and I'm not, I may be old, but I'm not sad like this apparent story is seeming. She said I would just, sometimes all I would eat every day was just, I would just do a baked potato and that would be it. You know, just one little plain potato or something. And she's not saying that, but let me be clear. Because when I hear those words, it sounds depressing. She's not saying, she's not bemoaning that. She's just saying that, you know, I think she had struggled because of, like I said, the environment, that this was just a harsh life, that she just didn't want to work that hard at like living anymore. You know, and I will confess, I'm guilty sometimes. I get tired and I will open up a can of peas and stick a spoon in it and just eat it cold right out of the can. You know, there's just, some days you just gotta do that. So I don't get the feeling that she's in any way trying to make you feel guilty for anything. She's saying she was okay. She knew it was just her path in life, and she accepted that. But she did miss you. She showed me she would sit in this chair, this one particular kind of worn chair, and just reminisce and about when you, the viewers, were at home and living, and the kids, you know, that time of life. And it was just wonderful and sweet, and how she loved taking care of y'all and cooking and all that good stuff. But now to the cards. But apparently, I think her death might have been a surprise to you. But she's saying y'all would talk on the phone, and you would say something about, yeah, I'm going to try to come home next month or next whenever, but it never happened. And then you would talk on the phone again, and then you would say, yeah, I couldn't make it home then, but I'm trying to get off work here and trying to do this, and I'll try to get home next month, or something like that. And it just kept going on and going on, and you never did. And I don't think that you were trying to avoid it, although subconsciously perhaps you were, because I don't want to go home to my hometown but I did, to see my parents. So that subconsciously perhaps you did. It wasn't that you didn't care about her at all. It was just you were busy with your life, making your way in the world, working hard, that kind of thing, trying to make something of yourself, so to speak. I'm getting another second storyline here. So I feel like her passing was a shock to you when you heard it. I don't get the feeling that if she was ill for some time, I don't think you knew it. I think, maybe she just died in her sleep or something, and then you get this phone call that she has passed away. And I think you felt very, very bad. I think that's when you started having this real guilt over not going home. And I know that's would be such a common thing to happen. Of course she would feel that way. But she's saying she knew that you loved her. She's here to bring that message in very clearly. She says there's no need for forgiveness. There's no need to punish yourself. She said she is happy and fine and warm. She said, I'm warm where I am. So, and she wants that to comfort you, knowing that she is fine and, moving on in her journey as a spirit and as a soul. Now, I do have a second storyline here. So, again, I don't know if this is because there are two children here that this message is for, or this is just a second message for someone with a similar background. But this message is for a young woman. So, when you left home, I think you got pregnant is what happened. And that was a bit of a shock for you. And maybe you were embarrassed to go home because you perhaps were not married, or you didn't have a supportive partner in the mix. And I think maybe you were trying to hide that from your family, your hometown, maybe your mom, but it was just you didn't want, I think it was something that you were embarrassed about, or you just didn't want it to be public knowledge. You were working toward just finding balance in your own life and trying to survive basically in your own life, and trying to just I'm just turning into some of these other cards. But then the same thing, when you found out that she had passed, it was a shock, and you grieved terribly. And you've moved on. You moved on, and life goes on and all that, because I don't think this happened yesterday by any means. I think it's been a while. But part of the process for both of these storylines, I think you faulted yourself for not using your intuition better, for not tuning in or somehow picking up the message that you needed to get home, either from her or just in general, that you needed to go home before it was too late. And in spirit, and this woman, but spirit is saying no, because they want me to talk about when, it's like when we're born into this world, we make a contract with certain people that we're going to interact with in our lives. And that also is true when we pass away. It's very orchestrated, and I've been a part of helping a number of people cross over, and I don't mean that in a weird Dr. Kevorkian kind of way. I mean, I was honored to be part of that process to support this person, these people crossing over. And what I've learned from experience is it's very orchestrated, it's very purposeful who is there and who is not there at the moment they pass over. That is their wishes on a soul level as to who is there and who is not there. Forget this human person, but you make a contract with somebody before you come in about what that's going to look like. That is your wish from a soul or 5D level when you get ready to cross back over into the non-physical, as to who is going to be with you or who is not. And you've all heard stories about that family member who hangs on and hangs on and hangs on in the hospital, and that devoted child or family, relative, spouse, whatever, that sits by the bedside and never leaves the bedside, and that for 5 minutes they go out to get a cup of coffee, and that's when the person passes over. That's because you weren't supposed to be there. And that's essentially this message that she's bringing through here, is that you were not supposed to be there, that you, this, okay, hang on 1 minute, let me, I'm getting another message here. Yeah, she's just saying, bear with me 1 minute. I'm sorry. I'm getting a couple of different things here. All right, let me stay with this for 1 second. Yeah, and let's see if there's anything here that she wants me to talk about. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you. Okay, she's saying that there was something that happened to her in later in life, closer to her death, that was like an awakening for her. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, she's saying that because she was alone, because of her solitude, she had a spiritual awakening toward the end of her life. And so she said, had you been there, that would most likely not have happened. That is really awesome. And she said she felt spirit around her. She was alone in the 3D, but she felt the spiritual support when she crossed. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that message. And now let me see what these little cards are saying over here. Who or what is this about? Oh, I don't know. This is kind of a side story. I'm not sure what this is about, but there was something about somebody in the village where this little town was that used to gossip. And I'm just seeing this disgruntled person, and I think it was another woman that was just, oh, I don't know what this has to do with the story. It seems totally unrelated, but maybe will make sense for you. I wonder, this could have been a family member or an aunt or something that lived, in the region or whatever. But she was very critical of meaning the children, when they left to go out and seek your fortune in the world. And she was like this kind of a naysayer, let me put it like that. She was a naysayer in the family, and she would seem to always find the negative or the, downside of things. And she had a lot of ego and was all, yeah, I'm getting into that's a whole other reading situation here. But I think that I get the feeling that you didn't like this person because of how they were, and she's just bringing that through to confirm her identity, so you'll know who this is. But apparently that particular person was just I don't like their energy very much. It's just a negative Nelly. That's, I guess, how I would say that. Just a negative Nelly, always criticizing you for leaving, and criticizing this and that, and she's just saying, I don't pay him any mind. I don't pay him any mind at all. So perhaps when after she passed and you went back home, that might have been, that's maybe the story here. You might have run into this person maybe at the funeral or something, and she's saying, don't you dare pay any attention to whatever that person said. She said, they're going to find something negative in a pile of gold. So she says, don't even think about that conversation anymore. Don't even think about it. Okay, anything else, Spirit? Because I think this message is getting a bit long. Anything else? Oh, sorry, I just hit my mic. Let me see if there's any last messages. 3 shuffles, Spirit. 3 shuffles here. Any last messages here? Okay, let's see. Let me see. Okay. She's saying for one of you that you've got some love coming in. You've got a little love offer about to come in. If you haven't just recently met someone, you're about to. And she's, and let me show you this. She's just letting you know that. And this card, this is a cute little Page of Cups card. I don't know if you can see it, but up here in the right-hand corner, there's a little pig with wings. You know, that saying, when pigs fly, I'll do so-and-so and so-and-so. But I think maybe that's something that you have said in the past. Well, I'll find a lover or a man or a partner when pigs fly. You know, maybe you feel a bit, for the person whose story this was about getting pregnant, I think you might feel a bit jaded because maybe this person your partner abandoned you or something. Well, guess what? You're getting ready to, if you haven't already met somebody, you're getting ready to meet somebody that you're gonna want to have a relationship with, or who's gonna want to have a relationship with you. Let's see, anything? Yeah, Judgment. Oh yes. Okay, you're going to be moving away from hard times. You're going to be moving away to calmer waters. And she's saying, yep, your ships are coming in. So that was a nice message to end on. I like that. That's it for me today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. If you hung with me to the end here, I'm very grateful again. I value your time. And if you'd like this kind of content, consider subscribing to my channel. I'm going to be doing more readings, and hit that like button. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Many blessings. Bye-bye.